Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Gmeeb Bands was one of the most unusual figures to ever pop up in Chicago's drill scene. A white kid moving around some of the city's roughest neighborhoods, claiming one of the most active sets on the east side, and dropping tracks that blended raw street stories with the energy of early drill. But the thing that pushed his name into national headlines wasn't his rise. It was the shocking, mysterious, and extremely messy circumstances surrounding his death. Bands wasn't originally from Chicago. He was born in Dallas, Texas, and his father was reportedly locked up right when he was born. Rumors say his dad had connections to serious drug traffickers, and that world eventually brushed off on Bands as he grew older. Even as a teen, he was already in the streets, already around people moving weight, and already getting into trouble. He eventually got sent to a juvenile program in Missouri, and according to him, that's where he first started writing rhymes. When he came back to Chicago, he tried to take music seriously. He even enrolled in Columbia College to study production. But the school was expensive, and after one semester he dropped out. Even then, he said he was riding the train to class with protection on him because he was still tied to the streets. Music didn't slow him down. While he was trying to build a career, he was also selling weed and even fake lean, something extremely risky in Chicago's street culture. That hustle is actually how he accidentally linked up with the crews that eventually turned into Gmeeb. How Bands ended up claiming Gmeeb. Before he ever claimed the set, a member of EBE, a group connected to the Black P. Stone Nation, hit him up to buy lean. Gmeeb and EBE were clicked up at the time, which is how the Gmeeb identity came together. What Bands didn't expect was that the lean buyer would figure out the product was fake and call him back pretending to want more. When Bands pulled up, EBE robbed him. But instead of cutting ties, they actually started hanging out. The robbery weirdly turned into a friendship, and eventually Bands became part of the Titanic Stones. Locals in Chicago say Bands wasn't just rapping drill lyrics. He was actually involved in the conflicts Gmeeb was having with the sets around them. At the same time, he kept recording music. In 2015, he dropped Demons, which made noise because nobody had ever seen a white drill rapper from Chicago rapping so aggressively and name-dropping active members. A few of his tracks directly repped the Titanic Stones and shouted out Gmeeb members like Murder and Lil Chief Dinero. His style was raw, almost reckless, and it helped Gmeeb catch attention during the peak of the drill movement. He even shot a video with Cole Bennett from Lyrical Lemonade before Lyrical Lemonade became the massive brand it is today. The 2016 Home Invasion. In 2016, Bands, Murder, and Lil Chief Dinero were involved in a home invasion. According to court reports, they forced their way into a house and demanded money. People inside were threatened, and one victim was struck before escaping and calling the police. Dinero and Murder were caught and sentenced, but police only went looking for black suspects. Because Bands was white, he wasn't identified and avoided charges. But in 2017, Bands was arrested after police saw him rolling a blunt in a parked car and found a firearm inside. He didn't stay locked up long, and when he got out, he went right back to the streets and the studio. The move to Rockford and his disappearance. By 2019, Bands was living in Rockford, Illinois, a quieter city about an hour from Chicago. Nobody expected anything major to happen there. But in June 2019, his mother reported him missing. A month later, authorities discovered remains in a wooded area. Police later concluded that Bands had been killed, and his body had been taken to the woods and burned afterward. Officers arrested 4 people: William Arzotti, Manuel Ramirez, Dakota Graff, and Colton Kenker. What the police say happened. According to investigators, William Arzotti attacked Bands during an argument, and the others helped move the body afterward. Arzotti and his co-defendants were all eventually charged. 2 were sentenced to decades in prison. Ramirez, who only helped after the killing, received a lesser charge. Arzotti, however, was released on bond and fled to Mexico. For years, rumors spread that he was hiding out with major traffickers, though nothing was ever proven. He was finally captured in 2024 and given a life sentence. Theories about why Banz was killed. The real reason behind Banz's death is still debated. There are three main theories. 1. The cartel work theory. Some people claim Arzati had connections in Mexico and fronted Banz drugs to sell, possibly 0.5 kilogram of heroin. According to the rumor, Banz took the product and didn't pay. There is zero verified proof of cartel ties, but this rumor spread because of how severely Banz was killed and the fact Arzati fled to Mexico. 2. The pill debt theory. EBE's manager claimed Arzati and Banz were friends. One story says Banz gave Arzati pills to sell, but Arzati used them himself, got addicted, and didn't want to pay back the debt, leading to the killing. This theory is considered more realistic because Arzati and Banz actually knew each other. 3. The millionaire connection theory. Back when Banz first started rapping, a man named John Ferrito Jr. supposedly paid for studio time. Ferrito is the son of the Arizona Ice-T founder and was involved in tax issues years ago. After Banz caught his gun case, they supposedly fell out. Some internet rumors tried to tie Ferrito to the case, but no real evidence exists, and it's considered extremely unlikely. Aftermath. The GMEB split. After Banz died, GMEB slowly collapsed. Internal issues, old beefs, and a stolen gun created major problems between GMEB and EBE. Members who used to be united split into different alliances. Some sided with Drill City, and others stayed with their original crews. Lil Chief Dinero still releases music, but none of the members have the momentum they once had. Banz's legacy. GMEB Banz came into drill music during a time when Chicago's scene was exploding. He had a unique lane as a white drill rapper who was actually tied to a real set, and he had a chance to go further if he focused on music and stayed out of conflicts. Instead, his life became tangled in street politics, risky hustles, and the wrong friendships. Now, instead of being remembered mainly for his music, many people remember the mysterious and tragic way he lost his life.